All right, we're on to L7-02, okay, which is direct modeling on imported 3D CAD models. And in this particular lesson, we're going to use the saw handle casing, which is in the Fusion files folder for lesson 7. If you haven't already done so, upload that, okay, and open it. And this is the same body that we used in the previous lesson, but this is the imported model. So all the parametric history has been removed from the timeline. Okay. That's a good point. So imported models do not necessarily have the parametric history that it once did when it was first created. So in that particular case, you can't easily go back and change things. And that's pretty critical to how you file share as well. If you share, say, I believe a Fusion 360 file with a Fusion 360 user, they can pull it up and still see the saved parametric history. But if you've saved it as, say, like an STL or some other universal CAD file, and then it's imported into Fusion somewhere else, that design history is lost, or it at least can't be edited. So in that case, direct modeling might be the best approach. We're going to use the press, pull, move, copy, and delete functions within direct modeling as well. Cool. So if you haven't already done so, upload this guy and open it up, which I've done. And as you can see, I don't have any history here. I just have the base feature is what they're calling it. And from the base feature, we can add on to stuff if we wanted to do parametrics or whatnot. But so you can see we can't capture the design history, so on and so forth. That's all we're left with. Click Modify, Move, Copy, and then choose the Faces option from the Control Panel's Move object drop-down menu. Select the 4 faces describing one of the ribs inside the housing. Use the on-screen manipulator to drag the rib to a new location. Okay. Click Modify, Move and Copy. Okay, we're going to come down. I'm going to use Shift. Okay, right now we are in the, gosh, that guy's not paying. We're in the selection. It's weird to me that that won't move. Move, copy. There it is. Sorry, I'm trying to simply, it's a software thing. It's not, it's because my internet is not great and it's freaking out. I'm just trying to move the control panel somewhere else on my screen and it's not cooperating. All right, anyway, at any rate, let's make our selections. We want to do just faces, okay, not the whole thing. And we're going to select all the faces that that make up the rib. Front and back. Now I don't know if I want to select this. I don't think I do because we've also got this long face here, and I don't want to move that. Yeah, just the front and back. Select the 4 faces. That's what we've done. The front and back, not the sorry, the right and left side, not the front, not this guy here. And we're going to drag the rib to a new location. Okay, there we go. Great. Click OK. The selection can also be rotated. Select the rotate option from the control panel's move, type, and select the edge shown. So if we go back, Okay, and go back to move. Select our same faces. They're going to show us that you can rotate it as well. Use rotate, select this edge, and we can rotate this guy. Rotate this guy out, forward and back. All right, use the on-screen manipulator to rotate the selection around the selected pivot point. The rib is automatically extended to intersect the casing wall. So I think that's a nice thing to highlight here, right? So this rib is automatically extended or contracted so that it terminates into the sidewalls here. So it's smart enough to maintain that constraint, if you will, as you update it, or in this case, rotate it. Click OK to accept the changes. Select the 4 faces describing the rib you just modified, and then click Modify, Delete. So we're going to click OK here. We're happy with that. And now let's say, oh man, we don't want that rib anymore. We're going to select these faces here. I'm holding on to Command. You can also hold, and I'm on a Mac. You can hold Control on a Windows and do the same thing to highlight multiple surfaces or edges. So I've done that. Modify and delete. And it's thinking again. And in that way, we can delete certain faces, objects, so on. And again, via direct modeling. Notice that the rib is removed and the part surrounding geometry is automatically patched, right? So when we did that, we don't have a hole left in this horizontal rib. It's automatically patched. So that's good. Notice that a small face division was created by the operation. Select the small face and click Modify Delete to remove the face and patch the geometry. That didn't happen in our case, at least from what I can tell. So I'm not sure why that is, but oh, never mind. There's one right down here. So we can go Modify and Delete, and it'll patch that as well. Click Modify, press Pull, select one of the boss's flat faces and use the on-screen manipulator to drag the selection outward. Click OK to accept the change. So they've drawn it out by 38 millimeters. We'll do the same. We're going to select one of the boss features and do press pull. Oop, that's just the inner edge. That's not what we want. Press pull. We want the face. There it is. Okay. And we're going to go 38 millimeters. Click enter. And now we can see that it's 38 millimeters longer than the rest of them. Although the model started with no timeline history, the operations you have created in this module have been added as features in the timeline. So here we have 3 or 4 features. We moved a face, we then deleted it, then deleted kind of that residual panel that was left behind, and we have press pulled one of our bosses. So if you then save this as a Fusion file and open it up in Fusion, elsewhere, the timeline would stay there. You'd have the design history up until the base feature, which was the component that we started with. All right, the press pull tool can also be used to add fillets to edges. So click Modify Press Pull to open the tool. Select the perimeter edge of the boss you modified and use the screen manipulator to create a fillet on the selected edge. Okay, so again, we can use press pull, highlight just the edge, and the fillet tool comes up. And the reason for that is you can't press pull an edge without creating a fillet. So just by nature of selecting an edge, it defaults to a fillet. you can physically click and grab and create your fillet that way, or you can come in here and put like a 2mm fillet on it like that. Click enter. Select the cylindrical face of the boss you adjusted, and then use the press pull to enlarge its diameter. Notice that the fillet you created in step 10 automatically updates and maintains the same radius. So we specified a 2mm radius. It will remain the same when we click on press pull up here, highlight this guy, make it larger. It's thinking. Running slow today. Let's see here. All right, so let's say I increase it to 3, and you'll see that the radius remains constant at a 2mm fillet, sorry, on the edge here. Even if I change it to 5, right, it'll expand, but it'll keep the fillet at 2mm. So let's expand it by 2mm. Click enter, and there we are. Use the press pull tool to add a fillet between the intersection of the ribs. The fillet you just added between the ribs can be deleted by selecting it and then clicking modify delete. The fillet is removed and the geometry is automatically patched. This is a very efficient way to remove fillets from parts of the geometry. Okay. So if I click press pull on this edge here, I can add a 2mm fillet to it like so. Click enter. I can, in addition to that, I can just click delete on my computer, which is what I just did. Or I can, let's go undo, right? So what I did is I just clicked delete, I selected the fillet and then I clicked delete, or you go up to modify and you can highlight delete in here. Either way works, and you can see it takes us back to this edge that we had beforehand. And you can do that with any fillet in the whole selection here. So I can come back to here, click delete, and it goes back to that edge. All right, I mean, so as you can see so far, direct modeling has its place and its purpose. It can be really quick and efficient. And it looks like they're gonna have us do a few other things here. So let's keep going. Direct modeling features can be used for more complex adjustments as well. Select all the faces describing the long horizontal rib, and we're going to move that, okay, and make sure the free move option is selected in the control panel's move type. Okay, so let's do that first. We'll select this edge. Make sure to hold command as you select, make all these selections. If you're on a Mac and if you're on a Windows, you're going to hold control. Okay, that's all of them on the top face, but remember we got to get the bottom face as well, or else we're going to thicken this rib. If we were just to select the top faces and move it up, then it would effectively make that rib thicker. We want it to maintain the same rib geometry. We're just moving the whole thing, so we need to select the bottom faces as well. Nearly done. There it is. Okay. So now click modify, move copy, and make sure the free move option is selected in the control panel's move type selection. So modify, move copy. And we want to make sure here that the move type is free move, which is the default, at least right now. So we're good there. And you see we have our little panel here, which will allow us to move this thing in any of the axes. You got the free move here on any of the axes. You also have individual axes in which you can move it as well. And my guess is they're going to have us move it in is that the y-axis? Move it up, but let's see. Use the on-screen manipulator to drag the selection upwards so that the rib is removed From the boss, again, the geometry is automatically patched as the adjustments are made. Click the cancel button in the control panel to refuse the changes, return to the home view, save the file, and continue to the next module. So they're going to show us here that as we move this up, it has successfully bridged what was once kind of a space between this rib to accommodate this, this boss. And if we move it back down, you see now that it successfully updates so that our rib doesn't go through the boss, it just goes up to it. But again, let's click cancel like they've asked so that it goes back to its original place. And that's that. So super quick, super effective. Definitely the right solution. Direct modeling is the right solution in certain instances. I still think parametrics is a better approach as long as it's efficient and it makes sense. That I would say I default to parametric modeling and then might use direct modeling, you know, when it's absolutely necessary. All right, on to the next module, which I believe this was L7-02. So we're done with the tutorials in lesson 7. There's one exercise that we'll do next. But this just gives you a kind of a brief introduction both to the tools within direct modeling and when it's nice to use. And it is a powerful tool. So at any rate, on to the next one.